So if you've spent any time in Zwift, you will know what this green barrier means. So let's get going.
Hi and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Jay and I make cycling videos and put them. So like I said in the intro, if you spent any time on Zwift, you will know what that green banner means. If you don't, then in today's video, we are taking on Alpe Du Zwift. This will be the second time that I've gone up this climb in the last couple of weeks. The first time was the final stage of the Zwift build camp. When I went up it last time, it wasn't quite a full gas effort. I managed to get up in 82 minutes. I did have a little bit of an issue with my heart rate partway up, so hopefully we won't have any of those problems today, and we're going to try and get under that 82 minutes. So first things first, I'm riding the Canyon 2024 Air Road. I do have the 2021 Air Road, and that's at stage 2 of upgrading, but everything that I've read says that the 2024 version of the bike is a little bit faster. So that's the one I've been going for. I'm currently at 193 kilometers of the first 200 that you need for that first upgrade. So I'm going to spend the first few kilometers of this ride just going back and forth before Alpe Du Zwift actually starts, just to tick off those kilometers so that I can get that first upgrade. It's an aero upgrade, but I'm going to do that just to give me every little bit of advantage that I can get for this climb. Trying to bring that 82 minute time down to below 80 minutes in this attempt is what I'm hoping for. If you've been following my videos for a while, you will know that my ultimate goal is to conquer the Alpe in less than 60 minutes. Last time I did it, when I had 82 minutes, obviously means that there's 22 minutes extra that I need to somehow lose. My primary focus is to build my FTP so that it's 240. If I can get to 240, then at my current weight, which is 74 kilos, then I'll be able to average the 3.2 watts per kilo needed in order to summit Alpe in less than 60 minutes. So that is my main 2026 goal, hoping to get that done by the end of the winter. But for today, let's see how we get on with this attempt. So we start off, and my plan is to try and hold just above 200 watts. My FTP currently is 213. Try and hold FTP for as long as I can. Start off the first big long section. First 2 hairpins are, I wouldn't say the worst, but some of the worst just because of how long they are. I prefer the shorter switchbacks with the lots of little sections so that you can tick those corners off quite quickly. When you're at the bottom, there's 21 hairpins. It does sound like a lot.
I like this bit. You tick off a lot of corners quite quickly, which to me seems like making progress.
One thing I should say about my previous attempt is when I did it as stage 5 for the Zwift build camp, I had been cycling pretty much non-stop since the end of October. So it had been about a month of almost solid riding. I've come into Zwift from a background of running and ultra and marathon running, so I know the importance of structured training, especially rest days. I hadn't given myself very many rest days in that first month on the platform. So in the run up to doing this, because I knew this is what I wanted to do for this week's video, in the run up to doing this, I did have 3 rest days in the week before, so I felt fresh going into it. But we tick off those first few corners, average about 200 watts, which is what my plan was. Then we get to this long drag between corners, I think it's 16 and 15, and in my legs it just starts to feel a little bit tired. And that was a little bit of a surprise for me because, like I say, I knew how tired and fatigued my legs had been, and I'd given them lots of time to recover over this week, that I went into this attempt feeling fresh. So it was just a little bit of a surprising feeling during this long segment that my legs did start to feel a little bit of fatigue. Then as we move towards corner 10, which is halfway, I'm finding it really difficult to hold that 200 watts. I didn't realise how mentally taxing this effort would be, trying to maintain that power, trying to do things like use the steering, because I've got the click controllers, use the steering to make sure that I'm always on the inside line so that it's just shorter, and drafting where possible. It was just really mentally challenging. I think the last time we did it, because it was a group ride, there were lots of people to draft off, and it didn't seem as much of an effort mentally, whereas this, doing it by myself, I found really quite tough. And in the sort of run up to this, to the halfway to corner 10, I had given some little bit of thought to scrapping the attempt. I didn't feel like it was going to plan. Didn't feel like I was going to get the PB that I was aiming for. And so I just thought, what if I quit now, do another week's of training or so, and then have a go next week? But I'm just a little bit too competitive for that. I thought, well, I've started now, even if it's not a PB, at the very least, it's ticking off some altitude towards the Tron bike, and there's always the chance of unlocking the Millenstein wheels at the top on the spinner as well. So just gave that a little thought, and I thought, no, do you know what? It's not worth the effort that I've already put in. I'm just going to keep going and see what happens. So I had found it tough up to that point. And then I decided that I was going to give myself a few, when I needed them, I was going to give myself a few sort of recovery segments. So I'd purposely drop down into zone 2 and try and bring my heart rate down, just so that then I could push on a little bit harder and faster in the following segments. This seemed to work. It gave me the energy that I needed. It lowered the heart rate that I needed it to. And it gave me the ability to put in a more sustained effort towards the end of this climb and try and push back closer to that 200 watt average that I was aiming for at the start. As we move between corners 7 and 6, I get passed by a guy doing an Everesting attempt.
Adam's doing an Everesting. He's on 161k, 100 miles. I'm guessing he's just been doing that up and down the Alp. What a madman.
At the time that he passed me, he had done over 160 kilometres, which is 100 miles. I was assuming he was doing all of those up and down the Alp, which meant he was almost, it would have been probably his 8th ascent. So he would have been almost at his target, his Everesting target. So fair play to that guy. Adders, if you're watching, well done if you managed to finish your Everesting, because I couldn't think of anything worse, if I'm being honest. It sounds like a truly horrible day in the saddle, but well done. Towards the top, we picked up a feather power-up just coming out of the tunnel, and then my plan was to save that until the final hairpin, final corner. As soon as we go round the corner, just sprint, or not sprint, but just increase power and hold on for as long as I can, because once the final corner is ticked off, the sector stats drop off the side, and it's not long until you start to see the placing banner at the top. So it gives you your ETA and how people have done before you. So once that came on, that was my cue to empty the tank and just go for the line for as much as I had left in me. And there we go, finished in 77 minutes and 19 seconds. Knocked about 5.5 minutes off my attempt from 2 weeks ago, and that puts me 2 minutes away from my all-time PB, which was 75 minutes, which I achieved back in 2023. But as far as 2025 goes, 77.19 is fairly decent, but it's still quite a way away, 17 minutes away from where I want to be at sub 60. So there's a lot of work to do between now and then. So I'm going to get back to it, and hopefully we tick off the sub 60 goal sometime in the new year. This will be the last video before Christmas, so thank you for watching. If you've managed to get this far, please give a like, a subscribe and a comment, and I wish you all a happy Christmas and a Merry New Year.